So I've had my Shelby just short of about 3 months. A couple more weeks will be 3 months. So I figured this would be a good time to do an overall review of what I think of the car, my expectations coming into it versus what I've discovered with the car since I've had it, the good points, the bad points, and my overall impressions with the car and what I think of it. Now I've yet to track this car, but I've done enough with it to really get a good handle on how it performs. And I've taken it on some mountain roads. That will be a video that you guys will see later on. I actually recorded that video the same day as doing this one. But I want to start out with performance on this car. Overall performance is incredible. As you may or may not know, this comes with 526 horsepower from the 5.2 liter Voodoo. This makes a little bit more. It does have long tubes on it, and it's going on the dyno actually June 8th. I was trying to think of when it will be going on in relation to this video, but I'm not sure when this video will drop yet. But anyway, June 8th is when it's going to dyno to see just how much power it's putting out. One thing I want to say about this car, I'm not doing a comparison to the Terminator Cobra. There's just a few things I need to compare to it. One thing is, as amazing of a sound as a Whipple or VMP twin screw or root style supercharger is on an 0304 Cobra, I raised the bar on that with the sound of a 5.2 liter Voodoo screaming at 8,000 RPMs with long tubes on it. This thing just sounds unfriggin' believable. It's just unreal how good this sounds. I've had a lot of comments in videos of how good it sounds. You guys have to hear this thing in person. There are a few of you who watch the channel that know me locally, see me at shows, knew me beforehand, that has seen this car in person, have heard the car in person, and it's just unreal. I really wish it came through on video more so than it does, but unbelievable sound on this engine. I can't believe how good this sounds, even with the relatively mostly stock exhaust. Just blows my mind. A lot of people have thrown Whipples on these, twin turbos, Paxtons, basically just thrown boost at it. This car is so good without even modding it. It's unreal. The power delivery is different from other cars because it has such a high RPM. But as this car sits, mostly unmodded, it's very, very impressive for the power that it makes. It's very surprising. I have had boosted high horsepower cars in the past, and this may not beat them in a straight line, but it does so much other stuff so much better that you kind of just, whatever, who cares? Now, on the subject of handling, this thing is just unfriggin' believable. This is the newest, most modern Mustang I've ever had. I've had 7 total, ranging all the way from 2004 down to 1996, other than this one. The technology and the suspension put into this thing is absolutely unfriggin' believable. This handles like it's on freaking rails. It just blows my mind. I went today on this mountain road, which, like I said earlier, you guys will see that video later, and this thing just blew my friggin' mind. I just want to take this to the track where I can really open it up at this point. Now, another great aspect of this car is how comfortable it is on the inside. This does have the Recaro seats, as I did in my overall info about the car video, and I'm not sure how the comfort seats are compared to the Recaros, but the Recaros are, I love them. They hug you so well, especially when you're in really tight corners, hold you in really well. Not everything about the interior that I actually like. I'll get more to that as far as my gripes about the car, because not everything is perfect about it, but for overall performance and handling and how it feels just driving it, it's excellent. This does have an incredible transmission already in it from the factory. It's one of those things you never really have to upgrade. But since I'm going to get into a little bit more of the things that I don't like about it, I'll start with that. The shifter is, it's okay. It's easy to miss a couple of the gears if you're shifting really fast. I'm used to short throw shifters like I had in my Terminator Cobra. That feels really good. So going to this is a little bit different. Probably down the road I will get a short throw put into this, just because it will feel just a lot more snappy going into gears. But as far as how it shifts and the transmission goes, I had no complaints there at all. It's really engaging transmission. When it goes in and shifts the way I want it to, it feels really good. The clutch is amazing. It's a hydraulic clutch, so that on its own just makes it a lot better anyway. Now getting into some of the other things that I won't say it's necessarily dislike about the car, but things to be aware of. Now, as comfortable as the Recaros are, there is one slight downfall to them, and it's just part of any car that has bolstered seats like this, is when I get in and out of the car, either have to cup my hand around the bolsters and kind of like slide my back along it so I'm not rubbing the material with my shirt or the back of my pants, or I have to put the seat really far back so that I'm not squeezing between the steering wheel and the seat itself and rubbing on that material all the time. I got lucky, these seats are in really good condition, and that's just something to be mindful of as my time with this car goes on, is that you can't just park it like I do in my Bronco and get out and get in and no big deal. This you have to be a little more conscious of not rubbing along those bolsters, because you will eventually wear that material down and do damage to the seat. Another minor gripe about the interior is the placement of the shifter in correlation to where the center console is. If you're going through the gears pretty hard and you don't pick your elbow up, like if you're resting it down low, you jam it right into the top of the center console. At least I do, and that may be just me because of how I have the seat positioned, my arm length, my overall height because of how close I have the car, the seat towards the steering wheel in relation to where the center console is. All kinds of dynamics involved with that. But you will jam your elbow against the center console if you don't have it up in the air just a little bit. That's like a minor gripe. I know I'm like really trying hard to nitpick this car, but that is one thing that I will mention. Now, one other, I'll call it a gripe, I guess I could file it under, well, what the hell did you expect? The gas mileage on this is horrible. It drinks a lot of fuel. Has to be expected as a high revving engine. Even when I don't drive it that hard, it still likes to drink quite a bit of fuel. I mean, I drove it pretty hard on this mountain pass. It's a 32-mile long road from one end to the other with like nothing in between. My current fuel mileage is, well, better than I thought, 17.9. But when I started out earlier today, it was down to 15. But I just filled up and I didn't reset it, but most of the hard driving I did was through the mountain pass, and I'm on my way back through now. You know, you have to expect that whether you have a built car, boosted, NA, or anything, you're not going to get the best gas mileage. It's a minor gripe. It's not like going to a Coyote GT based S550. This will drink a lot more fuel than those will overall in general when you're talking NA versus NA. And the very last thing for the negatives about this car is a tram line's pretty bad. If you're not aware of what tram lining is, it's when your front tires grab any imperfections in the road, any dips or anything like that, and it will pull the car left, right. It wants to follow the cracks and the deviations in the road. This car tram line's pretty bad. It's mostly due to the larger front tires on it. The GT350 comes with 295 tires on the front. The 350R comes with 305s. This has 305s on it. You can put 305s on this. There are things you can do to mitigate the tram lining with these. There are skid assist chassis mods you can do that help quite a bit. And I haven't done this yet. This is what I've heard. So don't shoot the messenger. But I heard if you run a wider tire on the back versus the same size tire on the front, like this is a squared setup right now, it's 305 all the way around. If you run 325 in the back and 295 or 305 in the front, that supposedly helps out quite a bit with tram lining. So in conclusion, what do I think about the Shelby GT350? I think it's an absolutely amazing car. This thing just blows me away. Everything that Ford did with the engineering on this, the way it handles, the engine, everything is just awesome. One thing that I didn't mention, this does have a Gen 1 Voodoo in it. I've kept an eye on the oil consumption since I bought it. I had an oil consumption test done on it right after I bought it. Everything came back okay. I do run a catch can on it just to be on the safe side. It did have a catch can on it when I bought it, but I had my reservations about how well that one was actually working because it wasn't really catching any oil that I saw. This one is catching oil, but I've kept a real good eye on the oil. I check it every couple of 100 miles just to see where it's at. I haven't noticed any significant decrease in oil on the dipstick. Maybe down, maybe just like a little bit from where it was when it was first filled up at the dealership, but since then I haven't added anything to it. I haven't needed to. It's been right at the fill line, so I haven't had any problems with the Gen 1 Voodoo. If you go online, Facebook groups or Mustang 6G forums, look up Gen 1 Voodoo problems, or GT350 in general, you will think that every single one of these cars is going to blow up on you from all the stuff you will read. What you don't see is all the people that drive these every single day and have zero issues. There's far more of those people than the ones with blown engines and oil consumption problems. That doesn't mean that it's not a problem and that Ford, kind of screwed up a little bit. The Gen 2 Voodoos, from what I've heard, have their own issues. Those too have blown up. It's a give or take. From what I've read, the difference between the Gen 1 to the Gen 2 is really not that significant. You can have problems with either one of them. This one's been problem-free for 30,000 miles. So I have nothing bad to say about it. I may have had one of the good ones. This may develop a problem down the road. If you have reservations about getting a GT350, I suggest an extended warranty, since a lot of these are coming out of factory warranty at this point. This one does have a warranty on it. So, that's, pretty much it. I really, really like this car. It's hard to beat the performance you get out of this at the price point. This thing punches way above its level of what it should be. Now, I'm not putting this at the bar of like a Porsche 911 GT3 or McLaren or something like that. But this is an extremely high-end performance car for what you get for the price point, whether it was brand new or if you buy one used and it's a little bit cheaper. It's phenomenal, the way it handles and the performance and everything. It's just such an amazing car, the engineering and everything. If you're thinking about getting one of these, I highly suggest getting one, no matter what the means are of trying to get it. I'm not saying do things that you shouldn't do financially in order to get one, but if it's within your means and you have the ability to, and you're thinking about it, I definitely would not pass on getting one of these. So that will conclude the video. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of my thoughts on my particular GT350. If you have one of your own, leave in the comments down below if you've had issues or problems or what you think overall. My expectations going into one of these were, I would say, fairly high, and it met those expectations. This car just blows me away. One thing I didn't mention, the braking on this, oh my god, the friggin' braking has a lot to do with how wide the tires are. But you get whiplash from braking, not from getting hit from behind. I mean, the braking is unreal with the 6-piston Brembos. I didn't really touch on that a whole lot in the video, but I just wanted to throw that in at the end. Kind of goes in with the performance aspect. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave it a like. Leave a comment down below if you're thinking about buying one of these or if you have one on your own. But above all else, everyone, thanks for watching.